Yeah, the main event here. Sony PlayStation, they stepped in it. They stepped in it big. And I'm going to kind of kick this off because it's kind of in regards to DRM. And who else better to kind of give us an explanation on what exactly is DRM in video games and why you should care? I went GOG because they are pretty much the lead company that does not have DRM restricted. It does not restrict their games. You can just buy your games, download them, and they are there for you to install, play at any time you see fit. You don't have to use their GOG Galaxy launcher. That's entirely optional. You don't have to go anywhere near that if you don't want to. And you can, again, just download the games, play them online, offline, it doesn't matter. But just to kind of kick us off, like I said, what exactly is DRM in video games and why you should care? If you're an avid gamer, you might have encountered the term DRM mentioned in various contexts before, but it's something that warrants your attention? Indeed, it is, especially if you cherish the freedom to enjoy gaming without restrictions. Prioritize your privacy and believe in the ownership rights of the digital content you purchase. Then it's crucial to be aware of DRM. We aim to explain precisely what DRM entails and how it impacts the straightforward manner possible. Let's dive in. What in the world is DRM? DRM stands for Digital Rights Management. It's a type of technology implemented by game companies to regulate and control the manner in which you utilize the games you purchase. Think of it as a sophisticated lock that prevents individuals from playing the games they have legally acquired in methods that the company deems undesirable or unauthorized. Essentially, when you buy a game that incorporates DRM, you're not merely obtaining the game itself, you're also acquiring a comprehensive set of rules and restrictions concerning how, when, and where you are permitted to play. And let's face it, that's what essentially it is. Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, their consoles are that. They are DRM by default because you can, especially now that there's always that online connectivity. PC, this is where you get into a bunch of other stuff, but Steam is essentially its own DRM as well because a lot of times the offline mode is kind of janky and will still kind of require you to kind of go to certain places to get the kind of EXE replacements to play offline and not have to be forced for that connectivity. But again, and then on top of it, with PC games, there's things like the de novo. Anybody within PC gaming, you're familiar with that anti-cheat system that can have negative effects on the performance of the game as well. So there's that extra layer there. Yet again, GOG, this is where you get stripped of any of that stuff. And it's also been, I think, why newer games have not always been put onto GOG from the get. But they've been slowly but surely making more strides there, especially than when we've got through their preservation programs that we've talked about on this channel. We've been getting re-releases of old games and stuff like that, so that's been a great thing right there. So essentially, when you buy a game that incorporates DRM, you're not merely for that one. Why should I care? The reason you should care about DRM is that it can significantly interfere with how you enjoy your games. In some cases, even though you've paid for the game, you're still at the mercy of DRM. DRM system to determine if, when, and how you can play. DRM can create barriers for you, a legitimate user, which feels unfair, especially when you want to relax and play a game without unnecessary restrictions or interrupt. By understanding how DRM works and how it might affect you, you can make more informed choices about where you buy your games and why DRM-free options are very much worth considering. Being aware of these issues allows you to support platforms and developers that respect user rights and offer more freedom in how you use the products you purchase. It is especially important with the likes of Capcom right now, because I know they've been kind of seeing a positive vibe, but as I've often seen, Capcom is one that will often use de novo. Let's see. Let's look at Pragma, the big one right now from them. Yes, so de novo watch, they've tagged it, and there it is. Incorporates third-party DRM, de novo anti-tamper, 5 different PCs within a day machine activation limit. This is certainly something that has, and sometimes with some games, some companies, after X amount of time, they may remove the de novo and it'll go away so you don't have to worry about it. But like I said, it can be intrusive. It can be a program that bogs down the performance of games. And honestly, this is generally why I will stay away from just that, because I think I was, oh, they got a golden week. It was not that Monster Hunter Stories, but I think it was, I forgot which yeah, Monster Hunter Wild. Yeah, this one had Denuvo, and I think that might have been why I had some performance issues with it initially, but even for my brother too. So by understanding how DRM works, how did I already go over that? Being aware of these issues, support so they kind of show the DRM free games from DOG are loading. Removing dependency on internet connection or any app to run your game. Turning off forced updates to your game to keep mods. Oh, yeah. So you're not always having to be connected online, and you don't have to be forced into updates for the modding. That's great. Ensuring easy creation of game backups. That is another easy thing to do, because yeah, they provide everything when you can download it directly from their website and throw it onto. I think they say that as well. Static. They say, don't they say or something? Denuvo acts as a multi kind of purpose device. It can't. I think it is like a anti-cheat, but it's mostly DRM. It's mostly that lock on the system itself. At least that's been my understanding. Anti-cheat maybe, but they go more the quote-unquote anti-pirate. How exactly does it affect me? On the surface, digital rights management, DRM, might appear to be a minor issue, but it's the potential to impact you in various significant ways. These effects are not immediately apparent, and you might only become aware of them when you are in the process of playing or attempting to play a game. Here are some typical scenarios where DRM can influence your gaming experience. Force requirements for an internet connection, and that's been a big thing. One of the most prevalent types of digital rights management systems requires a constant internet connection. Even when you are playing single-player games, that's the big kicker right there. While it is true that in today's digital era, people are generally connected to the internet most of the time, this requirement can become extremely frustrating if your internet connection is down or unstable. Imagine you're about to dive into your favorite single-player game, you've got all your favorite snacks and drinks ready, and you just want to relax and unwind without a care in the world, damn it! Then out of nowhere, the internet goes out. Suddenly you can't play the game you've paid for, even though it doesn't require any online features to function. In short, the thing you were eagerly anticipating is completely ruined. And that's that big issue right there with that. And more, game companies have been implementing this feature for, like they say, for even single player games where it just doesn't make any sense to do that. Why? And that's why, again, where some people point to physical media being still a strong contender, because you generally speak, just have the game on the disc, you play, away you go. But even, I think Nightmare has pointed out, when it kind of brought up as discussion in the Discord, that there are, with the physical copies of game, they have those still DRM restrictions that you still have to like either download a small component or anything like that. So that's where you still are kind of getting locked in. But if we get, and this is again probably where the big push with the Stop Killing Games initiative is really important. I share the tenuous nature of involving government with any of this sort of stuff, but sometimes you also have to use those tools to get any kind of a pushback. And I mean, certainly the people on the other side will use it these corporations will use every government initiative they can to basically screw the consumers. So sometimes you have to use that tool against them as well, get a little pushback. So also continuing on, you're traveling, if you find yourself on a flight or in a location where Wi-Fi is unavailable, you might be unable to play the game due to this digital DRM system, which requires an internet connection to phone home and confirm that you are indeed the legitimate owner of the game. It's worth emphasizing that this verification process is necessary even though you have already purchased the game with your own money. You remember, guys, you will own nothing and be happy. You will own nothing and be happy. Of course, those are just two very common examples Various other factors can also lead to sudden disruptions in your ability to play games, such as lack of signal, which might occur if you are in an area with poor coverage or an overloaded network, which can happen during peak usage times when many people are online simultaneously. Additionally, issues with your internet provider, such as maintenance work or technical difficulties, can cause interruptions. Connection outages might arise due to unforeseen circumstances, while hardware problems, such as a faulty router or modem, can also impede your gaming experience. Moreover, extreme weather conditions like severe storms or heavy snowfall have all potential to affect connectivity by damaging infrastructure or causing power outages. All of those factors can gaming interrupt. The limited installations. Some DRM systems impose limitations on the number of times you can install a game or the specific locations where it can be installed. These restrictions can become quite complicated and troublesome for game owners, particularly in circumstances such as PC upgrades. If you upgrade your PC, changing critical hardware components such as the motherboard or the hard drive, DRM systems might mistakenly identify as a new computer, potentially preventing you from reinstalling the game. Switching between devices. If you are planning to enjoy the game on both your desktop, laptop, be aware that certain DRM systems might restrict the number of devices on which the game can be installed. In which cases where you have already reached the maximum number permitted installations, it may be necessary to get in touch with customer support for assistance, or in some cases, game. Reinstalling the certain situations, such as when you have to reinstall the game several times due to complete system reset or reoccurring technical problems, it is possible that digital rights restrictions may be activated, which could prevent you from being able to access the game. And this was sometimes a potential problem when it came to things like CD keys back in the day, because let's be honest here. PC gaming, they've always tried to have some sort of implementation of a DRM sort of system that, you aren't pirating the game or unnecessarily sharing the game or anything like that. For console games, that was always the big thing was the easy ability to share games with friends and stuff like that. I always liked it before, but then once they started going with such an ecosystem, all of those unfortunate issues typically arise when games incorporate DRM systems. I'm saying I remember taking days setting up my Skyrim mods only for Bethesda update that broke everything. My brother recently had that happen when he reinstalled Fallout 4, and he got a whole bunch of mods installed and everything like that, and then because of whatever, I think like anniversary edition or whatever they released of Fallout 4, it borked everything. So he got frustrated as hell and just like, screw it. Do these games run on the Steam Deck? Now that's kind of the curious thing with the Steam Deck, because I know you have ability to download the game so then to play it offline. And I believe I've seen people like Mark the Cyborg mod his Steam Deck to even emulate games, so that's gonna be locked onto the system, or installed onto the system, so then that basically it makes it so that you can still play it off. So it has that, which it is. Server shutdowns. Again, this is kind of this sounds like a topic that's ripe for the whole stop killing games, and especially because that, like, server shutdowns, I especially know for MMORPGs and everything. Many video games incorporate DRM systems that depend on online servers to verify the authenticity of your purchased copy. If these servers become unavailable, whether due to temporary technical issues or permanent shutdowns, you might lose the ability to play the game. Such scenarios can occur in various situations, including older games. Several games that have been around for a number of years might experience the deactivation of their DRM servers by the company responsible for them. This is particularly likely if the game has lost its popularity and no one attracts a significant player base. In such cases, when you attempt to play these games, you might encounter an issue where the game fails to launch because it is unable to ownership due to the absence of DRM verification process. Game publishers closing. If a game publisher or developer faces financial difficulties and ultimately goes out of business, they may decide to shut down their servers completely. For games that incorporate DRM and require an online check-in process to authenticate the user's access, this situation means that the game becomes inaccessible and is essentially lost to players forever. Again, stop killing games, to have an end-of-life backup for the game. That's the importance of that whole thing. And I mean, to a certain extent, that is great for things like GOG here or even Steam. Even though a game company may disappear, go away, if you have purchased that game, it stays in your library and you can still play it at any time. Although it does still suck because, like it is, server shutdowns. I know that there are some games on my on my Steam list that were basically multiplayer games that I don't even know if I could really access or even wanted to boot up if I just wanted to kind of like show it off, dick around maybe. Or whatever. I don't know if it would be possible just because the server, just to kind of try and do things local. Performance issues. DRM systems can occasionally lead to performance issues due to their constant operation in the background while you engage in gaming. These systems continuously utilize your computer's resource, which can ultimately lead to the following consequences. This is where I was talking about Denuvo. Slower load times. Many DRM systems perform checks on files or authenticate your game during the loading process. The additional step can significantly extend the time it takes for your game to load, making the wait noticeably longer and potentially affecting the overall gaming experience. Gameplay stutters. If DRM technology requires periodic communication with its servers during gameplay, this could potentially lead to the game experiencing interruptions such as stuttering or pausing. These issues are particularly likely to occur if the internet connection is either slow or temporarily disrupted. Impact on frame rate. In rare instances, DRM systems might consume a significant portion of your computer's resources, which can potentially impact the frame rate. This affects how smoothly the game operates, thereby making your gaming experience less enjoyable and possibly leading to noticeable lag or interruptions during games. And I think that's a lot of the times it's either between the gameplay stutters or impact on frame that the Denuvo has especially been guilty of. And let me also make this clear. I'm not innocent on never buying Denuvo restricted games. Mainly because the games that I have purchased, which would be like the Jurassic World games that does have that implemented. Like it is. Sometimes I overlook it and child dinosaur sometimes wins. I've been trying to do better. I mainly like it is. That's been unfortunately why I've really stayed away from the Yakuza at this point in time, because as I recall, so I was really interested in although I guess now they call it like a drag. Yeah, I was really interested in the pirate Yakuza. Or no, this one was one I was interested in, but it also has Denuvo, and I think it was Like a Dragon Ishin. This one I was particularly interested in. DRM Denuvo on that. I was like, damn it. I wanted to go for it. I'm still waiting. It's not a bad sale. 80. But I was waiting for a cheap enough sale. Maybe God. A little deep. I do feel like I need to go the GOG route more often, just because of like it is. They're generally DRM. Oh, yeah, like it is. They've been getting more and more games now, but they've been getting more. Even like it is, the Legacy of Kain Defiant new quote-unquote game. And again, like it is, you don't have to use the GOG. Yeah, that's right. They did put the Yakuza series on, so you could get like the complete series. But they do not have issue or pirate. Might be some interest. I do like the series. There's some iffiness with the localization here and there, but otherwise, a fun, enjoyable series. Yakuza 0. With its soundtrack, fantastic part of the series. DRM crashes or glitches. We're doing this is a lot to get into here, but trust me, it's all for a purpose. Just to kind of give everybody the of just what exactly DRM is and what it does, side effects of all this are, because like it is, this all goes into what game companies alone, not just Sony PlayStation, but what game companies are insidiously inserting into their games to either make things just to make them less consumer friendly. So I figure if I give at least a good solid rundown on everything DRM related, gives their start. Digital rights so the crashing glitches. Digital rights management is not without its imperfections, and there are occasions when it can fail to function properly. Instances of these malfunctions include false positives. There is a possibility that DRM system could erroneously identify your game as a pirated version, despite the fact that you have purchased it legitimately. This error can result in you being unable to access until you either reach out to customer support for assistance or resolve the problem. Troubleshooting. And here's kind of the thing to all this. I understand it doesn't happen to everyone. I know for myself, I have not always seen these issues myself. I have not experienced some of these troubles, but this is just like it is. Worst case scenario, the possibility of what could or could not happen, and things just be alert. Compatibility problems. Some DRM software can be incompatible with specific operating systems or hardware configurations, leading to a range of issues such as system crashes, error blocking the game from starting up. Conflicts with other software. There are instances where DRM systems may interfere with other software installed on your computer. This interference can occur with antivirus programs that are designed to protect your system from threats, or with various background processes that are running simultaneously. Such conflicts can result in unexpected crashes or a range of issues that disrupt your computing experience. Bans and restrictions. Some DRM systems link your game license to an online account, such as those provided by platforms like Steam, Origin, or Uplay. If any problems arise with your account, whether it be a ban, a payment complication, or a security breach resulting in a hacked account, you could potentially lose access to your entire collection of games. This restriction would not be limited to just the individual game associated with the DRM, but could extend to your whole library. In essence, so account bans. If your account is banned, even if it happens by mistake, you may completely be locked out of accessing all the games associated with that account, especially those that utilize the DRM linked to it. Region restrictions. Some DRM systems impose restrictions based on geographical regions, which means that if you relocate to another country or attempt to play your game while traveling internationally, you may encounter blocks preventing you from accessing your game. Now, this was something that was kind of interesting. Some people were trying to say, oh, well, Steam isn't DRM. I'm like, well, actually, excuse me, but actually, that's incorrect. But I brought up, again, GeoGD, and I guess somebody had pointed out that Russia, they are unable to access or be able to purchase games through GOG. So I thought that was kind of a thing to find out. They kind of there for what countries can buy their games, which is a little douchebag. But I have stated my side of, there's been certain things that GOG has done iffy on here or there. Otherwise, it's been a solid consistency with being DRM free. So DRM free, how do I get it? Now here's where things get interesting. At GOG, we strongly dislike the fact that your freedom to enjoy gaming can be restricted, that you might lose access to the games you have paid, and that there is often a lack of respect for your need to truly own what you purchase. That's why we are fully committed to providing you exclusively with DRM-free games. This ensures you don't have to be concerned about any of the issues or limitations we've just mentioned. When you purchase a DRM-free game on GOG, you have the freedom to play it offline at any time. Back up its files for security and video game preservation, installed on as many devices as you wish. Decide whether to use a launcher or run it directly from the executable files, and even skip any updates that you do not prefer. We do this because we respect you both as a gamer and as an individual. And so here they kind of, list everything here for GOG with playing offline, check. Auto updates, optional with easy rollback features, mod friendly. Full control of games, check. Offline installers, check. Achievements, check. Achievements has been more of a recent thing that they've been kind of implementing, thankfully. And even though I'm not a big achievement hunter, I do like getting my little, dopamine hit of I've gotten an achievement. DRM free games only, frequent discounts, refund policy 30 days, flexible, dedicated launcher, optional GOG Galaxy. Now this was written in 2024, so I don't know if the refund policy may have changed. Well, we don't know. Restoring classic games, check. Ensuring old games compatibility, check. Other platforms, limited for offline play. Need workarounds for auto updates. Does not have full control or offline installers. Yes, achievements. DRM free games, some. Frequent discounts, sure. Refund policy, 14 days under 2 hours played. So yeah, and that's the thing nowadays too, especially your game will be basically, the tutorial takes you about the 2 hours, and within that time you're going to figure out whether or not you like the game or not. And if you don't, you're screwed once you go over that 2 hour mark, because like it is a lot of times the intros to the games take up 30 minutes to an hour, especially if you're playing a Metal Gear game, for God's sakes. Goddamn Kojima. Or a Kojima game in general, with probably the Death Stranding. Dedicated launcher being mandatory. Restoring classic games, not so much. Although, we do have places like Night Dive and Aspire that do restore classic games out there, but like it is, sometimes those are still withheld behind certain DRM restrictions, ensuring old games compatibility. Again, that's where even Night Dive has been in the scene, and Aspire. But Night Dive, I'd say, has been doing a better job of it, because like it is, we know Aspire has worked things like the Battlefront 2 release of the classic version and everything. So just as a conclusion, DRM might seem harmless at first glance, but it can severely restrict the way you enjoy your games by imposing various limitations. It can force you to maintain an online connection to play, even for games designed to be single player, limit the number of times you can install them on different devices, and even lock you out of entirely if a company decides to shut down its servers or chooses to revoke your access for any reason. In many situations, you don't fully own the game, you're merely playing by the rules they set, which can change unpredictably at any time. And that's where their terms of service generally comes in, because they can change those terms of services at any time. And like it is, how many of us really do read through it? I'm sure there are people out there that meticulously go through the terms of service and read through everything, but I'm not going to say I ever go through and read all that BS. So that's the other thing, is that those things can change at any time. Thereby then, where it's like 1 minute they're like, oh yes, you own your game, everything is hunky-dory and cozy. Suddenly, bam, the axe comes down, all those alleged and alluded to rights of ownership over your digital game, gone. Poof. Benito. In contrast, DRM-free games like those available on platforms such as GOG offer a completely different experience. They provide you with full freedom to play whenever you choose, allow you to install the game as many times as you want across multiple devices, and respect your need for ownership of the products you have paid for, which should always be the case. There are no restrictions, no hidden rules, just gaming on your terms. If you value having control over what you've invested, opting DRM-free games is the way to go. And there you go. There's the whole kind of overview for anybody that's a little confused, a little unsure, not knowing just what the hell is DRM. We just got the breakdown for you. There it is. Bada boom, bada bing. It's all set to go. On here. Oh man, I remember trying to find CD key generators on LimeWire. Young Haas was not very wise. I remember those days. Yes, the CD key generator. Visiting old Captain Jack Sparrow, you hope for the text document that had a list of CD keys that you could try out. That was usually the way I went. Sometimes though, I did try to find I hope some precedents for us. I do too. I really do. Ross Scott is, from all the years that I've followed the dude, he's been probably like the most like consistent guy for a YouTuber in his message and what he wants from games and just his overall stance on stuff. He's been very, very solid in that regards. So he's a legit. And this has been a push for him for the long. I did kind of laugh when I saw people. We were the first to talk to him about it, to talk about this issue of the Stop Killing Games. Except here was the thing. He goes all the way back to his like Battleforge review too, where he tried to set up a campaign for people to actually like either write in or print out the paper and physically mail in letters to Electronic Arts to help try and prevent the killing of the game or to revive the game or whatever. He's been at this for a long time. Unless you can tell me you've been that far back and actually did some of those letter writing campaigns that he brought up, and I think also for Dark, then you might have some grounds there. But otherwise, I'm really hoping for the Stop Killing Games thing to really get perverted. Maybe we'll see. Might be. That says could that just be racisms against the Poles coming from the Russians? Could be. So, woo! Dinosaurs with lasers. Let's freaking go. All right. So this is where it all started for when I started seeing this crop up on X. Old Sony PlayStation here. So this Lance McDonald on X, Man Fighting Dragon, hugely terrible DRM has now been rolled out on all PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 digital games. Every digital game you buy now requires an online check-in every 30 days. You buy a digital game and don't connect your console to the internet for 30 days, your license will be removed. That's where they show that off right here. Valid period start, valid period end, and that's where it's showing off. And remaining time, 20 days. On to say games you bought in the past seem to have this issue, but any game you buy from now on will only work for 30 days without an online check-in. This is not be avoided by using Activate Console as primary. All digital games now die after 30 days for all owners. Crazy number of people in the replies who have absolutely no idea how PSN licensing works and are just erratically guessing about not if you activate console on primary or misinformation been debunked months ago. And then the Does It Play account also had potentially major DRM issue rolled out by PlayStation and Xbox as well, allegedly. All new PSN purchases now have a 30-day validation countdown, already investigating to find out more details. And of course, there's going to be the Sony ponies and the general people that just, for some reason, will go to the ends of the earth to basically just, I don't know what it is, fucking Janny for the damn corporations who outright hate them. I don't understand it. I still don't understand it to this day, but goddamn do people do this. So this was like a whole series of things. Received word from an anonymous insider, so trust me, bro. The Sony DRM issue is unintentional. From what we've gathered, Sony accidentally broke something while fixing an exploit. They've known about the confusing UI for a while, but didn't see it as urgent, hoping for a clarifying statement. So yeah, we also had Pirate Nation here that had this little ditty. PlayStation support has confirmed that a new digital rights management policy for the console is intentional, not a glitch. Starting with any digital games purchased after March 2026 system update, your PS5 will require an internet connection at least once every 30 days to validate the license. If the console stays offline longer than that, the games simply will not launch until you reconnect. This change does not affect any titles already in your library. Setting a console as your primary system will also not bypass the monthly check-in. On here says the architecture for this existed long before this post. The free games you get on PlayStation Plus all had these limits on them. When you left Plus, they locked and couldn't be played anymore. You are absolutely 100% right there, Hassan. I learned that myself. Even though I had, I believe it was Yakuza Kiwami on my system and everything, but because I did, and in my account and all that, but because I did not have PlayStation Plus, I was locked out of the game completely. There again is your DRM restrictions. Even though I had it associated with my account, just because I did not have this other external thing set up on my account, because I was at that point of, F you, Sony, I'm no longer dealing with your BS. I'm no longer paying this stuff just to use freaking games online and everything. I'm done. But I wanted to, I still use my console occasionally, especially if my PC goes down and I need to get it repaired or get a component. I have those as backup. So, I wanted to play it at the time, but then I was like, oh, no, you can't because you do not have PlayStation Plus. You are not also perhaps logged into the system. It has not gotten that update to know that you are still part of the PlayStation Plus program or whatever. So the console stays offline longer than it is. So this is where they got a support ticket here. Thank you for your interest on the 30-day timer that is being applied to all new purchases. Affected content. Games purchased digitally after... Okay, so that's where that came in. Offline functionality if the console does not connect to the internet within 30 days, the license expires. Primary console restriction. Setting a console as primary does not bypass the 30-day requirement. The 30-day is a valid period and is not a sign of account restrictions. So this has just been an ongoing thing. A lot of it is still trying to be determined, but honestly, in my outlook on this is just, that crack in the system that probably Sony didn't want getting, at least being much more highlighted. Because like you say, Hassan, the architecture is there. And what's really hilarious is that this was the company that came out and dunked on Microsoft during the whole E3 for the Xbox One launch and PlayStation 4 release announcements for the system. That they did the whole, oh, you can just share your game with friends. No problem. Because Microsoft, reminder for everyone that doesn't remember this, Microsoft with the Xbox One wanted to implement a lot of these very heavy DRM restrictions, from daily logins to basically also a video check using your Kinect. So this is just further showing where these big companies are trying to push things. And even like it is, Nintendo is doing some of their own things like that with their own digital insistent games. Oh, but there's the code. Oh, but you can still reach. No, they're still implementing this stuff. You are still losing your rights as a consumer on your purchases. It is more and more just being highlighted that you will own nothing, and you should be happy about it. Static says, you see, we need government regulation because too many people won't tell Sony to fuck right off with this disgusting business practice. I'm so tired, dude. That's perfectly put. Yeah. It really goddamn is. It's like, we stopped the, it's the corporate dick sucking for any company. No, even like the indies, like, yeah, you can put them over a little bit if they're doing a good job on certain things, absolutely. But don't be so fucking blind that you just take it up the backside whenever they do shitty practices like this and defend for them. No, that should never be a thing. Fuck all of them. So yeah, this XMGB on X here also had one of my viewers contacted PlayStation support about the 30-day DRM update for PS4 5 games. The response they got makes it sound like this is not a mistake or bug and is intentional, because that's been the thing that people floating around, that it's a bug, it's a mistake, it's not intentional. But you see it you saw the screenshots. People have shown it with multiple games that timer is in there. It's cooked in. It's baked in. They have that for those games. And like Hassan here pointed out, it's very much part of the system. It's already in the architecture for it being set up, especially if you lose that PlayStation Plus and you had gotten those free quote-unquote games, you lose all access to them completely, 100%. They're gone. You cannot play them. So it's just it's just baffling. Yeah, I will grab the quote-unquote free games off of Epic. I know though that there's the potential that those will go away, and that is fine with me, because I'm also not giving them any other money. I'm not giving them cash or anything, but I know that those can go away at any time. Any games that I do like, I do. So yeah, Sony hasn't officially responded yet, and this is as of April 27th. So yes. So first, thank you for your interest in the 30 days primary console restrictions. That's what we've already seen. And then it was never, so the person followed up, it was never announced, and no one agreed to have to check in every 30 days and not have access offline. It is not mentioned in TOS. When you purchased a game digitally, you should not have to authenticate every 30 days. Stop killing games. Is going to be really... we understand your concern on this matter. This is from the PlayStation support. While there hasn't been a formal public announcement from the introduction of the 30-day DRM timer is meant to be technical measure. Exactly. There has not been the reply from the person. There's not been an official announcement from Sony, and no one agreed to this and still made purchases unknowingly with iffy legal grounds for a large lawsuit. I would only hope that gamers actually did something. So yeah, I did get a couple of articles here too. PlayStation fans are confused over PS5's apparent new internet connection. Are they gonna Janny for Sony here? Because the gamers, they're just kidding. Don says, and now it's like, how the hell do I share a game when there's no disc? Exactly. Dude, how the hell do I play the game? I paid for it. So a recent update of PlayStation 5 may have brought a subtle change to the digital games, the console sharing, potentially requiring players to connect to the internet regularly to validate their licenses. Fans noticed the controversial PlayStation change in the PS5's March 2026 update. Ownership of digital games has been a hot button issue for many gamers with the rise of online marketplaces like Steam and Store. Many have called into question whether customers actually own the games they are buying digitally, with storefronts closing, potentially causing players to lose access to games they have paid. Growth of online live service games, and as again, Ross Scott, he has his video of games as a service is fraud. The dude has been at this for it's also caused similar controversy, and he caused a stink with that too. He had multiple internet lawyers that were he had one or two, I think, that were going after him. And this is kind of where I got a little more connected in checking out Nick Rekieta, because Rekieta did bring Ross Scott on to talk about it legitimate and to kind of go. It's a really funny kind of stream too, because have Rekieta in his chat kind of bringing up some internet drama bullshit that's gone on. And this is why Ross is great. He was just completely oblivious to the stupid BS. He's focused on gaming, and he has his other little autism topics that he gets to, so things like oil, like that. But yeah, it was kind of an interesting little conversation, one way or another. Just because also he just got the chance to also further explain the whole games as a fraud and all that. Given that microtransactions can become inaccessible when a game's servers shut down, now a rumored change to the PlayStation Store is stirring up more controversy about its digital game. We have the Pirate Nation tweet. PlayStation 5's March system update reportedly included a new feature that could significantly impact online games. Some fans have discovered a new valid period timer on digital games, suggesting that they will be unavailable to play after a set period of time. The change has been heavily rumored to be related to a new DRM policy from Sony, requiring players to log in once every 30 days. Customer support agents for Sony initially confirmed the change to be an unintentional glitch. Sony's automated customer support has also been inconsistent about its implementation, including some online assistant conversations suggesting it will be exclusively applied to PS5 console sharing. And this is a problem too, I believe, like some people pointed out. Online assistant that they're talking to is potentially just an AI program. The potential Sony change has sparked plenty of backlash from fans furious about the decision to force internet connectivity. Many emphasize the rumored update to the PlayStation Store as another step towards a fully licensed-based model, with players only purchasing the rights to play a game instead of properly owning it. Some fans mock Sony's rumored online-focused policy as being similar to the one Microsoft had toyed with during the development of the Xbox One, which was ultimately scrapped before the console's launch. In my opinion, no. This is just the fact of the matter. You should not forget what these companies have eventually done mask off. That, because like it was, I believe I've told this story before. I don't know if on here or if on other places, but I have told the story. I was on the fence. I was debating between Xbox, or I wasn't sure which route I wanted to go. Ultimately, when I was starting to hear all that news about the Xbox One, what they were planning to do, I tapped out. I said, okay, and Sony was like, no, we aren't, like it is. We just, Sony wasn't doing that. They were, still keeping things as was when it came to console game sharing and stuff like that. So that was, and that's something that I've kept. Yeah, I may use like their peripherals here or there, but I'm ultimately not going out of my way to support Microsoft. And that may be the thing, is that where I do want to check in Steam controller, because hopefully that's a better viable option. And I haven't purchased any of their new consoles in some time, and I mean, operating system I'm using gotten for free directly from them. And it is basically like the clip that I used in Saturday Night Sith a lot, where it's just basically people have the memory of, this is exactly generally.
Kids with your loud music and your Dan Fogelberg, your Zima, hula hoops, and Pac-Man video games. Don't you see? People today have attention spans that can only be measured in nanoseconds.
More or less, that's the people in general, the normies in general, the certainly the freaking game attention span that can be measured in nanoseconds. Like goldfish, they forget and move on, and it's like an easy thing to move. It's always funny as hell when I get into conversations and like sometimes the confusion about needing ID to purchase a game, or just like the list of things that are on the back of the box letting you know what, and I explain like, this is what's happened in what has happened in the past, from things like Columbine to things like, just the general politics during the 90s of a lot of times Democrats, but also the Republicans going after gaming, trying to restrict it, control it, and stuff like that. people are still oblivious to it at times, and they just forgot or whatever. But like, it's always interesting to see like who I'm either reminding these details to, or like it's a light bulb moment of, oh, I didn't know that. PlayStation's potentially new limits on digital games also sparked a push towards growing movement aimed at game preservation. The Stop Killing Games initiative caught fire in response to Ubisoft's handling of shutdown racing game The Crew. The online campaign has amassed more than 1 million signatures since being launched in April 2024. The campaign has caught the attention of European governing bodies and consumer organizations, including the French consumer group UFCQ Corsair, filing a lawsuit against Ubisoft in late March. The movement even sparked some lawmakers to push new policies aimed at preserving games after down. The controversial digital game policy could affect some major games set to release on the PlayStation 5 the rest of the year. If it winds up being implemented, Marvel's Wolverine is slated to launch September 15th as a PS5 exclusive created by Insomniac Games, which looks DOA in my book, but and many of the same developers that worked on Marvel's Spider-Man series, one of the biggest multi-platform releases in gaming history. It also hit PS5 during holiday season, with Grand Theft Auto 6 scheduled to finally release on November 9th. Sony's new digital games policy could significantly affect some of the big consoles. Hassan saying, "Oh my God, it's true. I can't believe it." But basketball was actually a prediction, like idiot. It's just, I mean, it's not even prediction. It's just an observation of people in general. Like it's just people just have that general thing of like they switch brain off if not directly affecting them at that time, so they can just very easily move forward. There was another article here that I did grab about. So new theory says PS4 and PS5 30-day digital game timers are temporary to stop piracy. This is an excuse. Let's face it. Permanent after 14 days. It's now claimed that the timer changes to a permanent license after a 14-day. So this is, if this is the thing, this is them basically then testing the waters to see what they can get away with. So they go, oh, 14-day period. Oh, 20-day period. Oh, now the 30-day period. Oh, guess what? You have to keep checking in regardless. It's the frog in the boiling pot, right? Like the heat just keeps getting turned up more and more as time goes on. Does anybody really trust Sony to not start doing? So recent reports that new PS5 4 digital purchases have introduced apparent DRM requiring online activation. Earlier this week, it was reported that a new version of 13.20 update for the PlayStation 5 console appeared. The theory tested by numerous YouTube channels was that any digital game purchased on or after a certain date appeared to have a 30-day timer applied, suggesting if the player didn't play the game for 30 days, oh, that's interesting, saying that the player didn't play the game for 30 days. It's just been sounding like if they didn't check in on the system, they would have to connect their console online to renew the license, to reset the... Oh, hello.
Welcome.
Thank you, Apiu Hilitan, for following the Twitch channel. Thank you. So now players who made such purchases a couple of weeks ago have started reporting that the 30-day timers have been disappearing from these purchases, leading to more investigation as exactly what's going on. Reset Era user Andrew, who owns a jailbroken PlayStation 4, has been using it to try and figure out what's happening, appears to have found a potential explanation, claiming that the timer is a one-time measure to avoid piracy. But how do you determine piracy versus a legitimate game? This is, again, getting back into what we talked about earlier with even CD keys and stuff like that, because sometimes CD keys fail. Even though you had a legitimate CD key, those could fail. Those were anti-piracy measures. And that digital game purchases loses their timers, become permanent after a couple of weeks. Again, that all could change. We just also said how terms of service at any given time. When they're like, you know what, we need to change that. We need to. The user noted that they purchased a PS4 game on April 9th, then turned on their console on April 21st. At this point, a 30-day time where the game was applied, even before it had been installed. When the game was then installed on April 25th, its information page showed that it was playable for another 26 days. However, shortly after the timer disappeared and the game became valid for an indefinite period. You can't actually, I don't think you can actually legitimize that, because how is it is it indefinite, or is it just now hidden in the system so you can't? Allegedly, user noted that the time between the initial purchase on April 9th and the timer switching to a permanent license days. Andrew's theory is that the new timer has been put into place to prevent hackers exploiting Sony's refund policy, where digital game purchases made on the PlayStation Store can be automatically refunded if it's within 14 days of purchase and if the game hasn't been installed yet. So again, here's where we are seeing the valid period start, valid period end. The 29 days for Hollow Knight have piracy problems. There's no games worth pirating. In fact, there's no games at all. Users speculated that people were buying games on the PlayStation Store using jailbroken PS4 consoles to extract the indefinite license applied to those games, then refunding the games without installing them. They could then... This was something that kind of cropped into my brain when I was going over the DRM stuff with GOG and the refund policy. It's that how is it that people didn't just install the game and then get it refunded after they've gotten everything installed for the game. The thing is that you aren't 100% and you just have to. But, some people do try and at least give us the benefit of the doubt. That's at least good. They could then use one of the licenses to acquire access to the game through other means, such as applying it to a pirated copy. By adding a new 30-day timer to the games by default, then change after 14 days. This method is theoretically blocked because the user won't be able to extract an indefinite license until after the refund window has closed. New theory then is that all digital purchases of PS4 and 5 games do now apply a 30-day license, but it's only temporary. Temporary, in my opinion, quote unquote. After a period of at least 14 days. Again, days could change. After the game can no longer be refunded, that license is then changed to an indefinite one, meaning players continually connect their console online to validate it. Sony has still yet to officially explain the situation in detail. AI support chatbots have been providing conflicting information. VGC has reached out. So that has been the ongoing thing. Sony PlayStation here, and let me just kind of check on their X account to see if there has any official talk mention of what's been going on, filling their shit. No announcement on their main account here. So at least for the time being, looks like and of course, like it is. There's the people that are out there defending Sony. They're saying, it's false, blah blah blah. You can think of it what you will. In my point of view, it's just showing the mask is off. This is the direction Sony wants to go. They want to limit access and control over games. I mean, PlayStation, I think personally, reverse course on this. Backlash is going to be too big. Loss of true ownership, offline play, not working after 30 days. That's just it. This is what, like I just said, they want to do this. This is exactly what they, and just like with Microsoft and what they showed at their E3 for the Xbox One. That's what they showed, how they wanted to take that direction, that heavy restrictive access to their stuff, to their games, to everything. And that's the thing, gamers have to actually. But then I'm reminded, even Ross Scott said that, boycotting anything. And I'm not trying to say boycott. I'm just trying to say be aware. And I've gotten flack for, being maybe interested in a game, asking for, opinions on it. And then I started doing my own research, looking into the game, seeing the sort of douchey sort of maybe things that were being done, people that weren't being recognized for their work. And I backed away. And then suddenly I'm seen as some guy. I did the research I'm doing, so I'm back. Why would I give money baggy things? That's why it's funny because James of Melee Games, he brought up last night Subnautica and how they fired their sound design guy who was maybe showing some center to right leaning messages, whatever, comments and everything like that. He got fired, and when that did go down, I tried. And the thing that sucked is I did like that they were on a good path for what they were doing at the time. But once that happened, shit, I did try to go through Steam and I tried to get my refund because I disagreed with their action to fire an employee for something so stupid like that. Unfortunately, I couldn't because I had well gone over the 2 hours. But it's that sort of stuff that you just kind of keep alert for and just try not to trying to avoid certain you can. Static's asking, did you get the new Sony patch? But otherwise, kind of the whole thing right now, ongoing DRM PlayStation trying to put me. It screams exactly what Microsoft was trying to pull back in the day. Show you where they want to take gaming, where they want to take all, and even to like it is to a further point. Like here's this, even though this isn't Sony necessarily. A post here from Does It Play? The fact that they deliberately put physical before code and box says two things. One, they think you are extremely stupid. They do, and they know you're extremely stupid. Sorry, but that's just the fact of it. Because they know people are going to buy things regardless of anything that they do wrong, any ill. Gamers are part of the ultimate little to zero impulse control. They had to buy the new, consume new product. I see it plenty with actively undermine the meaning of physical to sneak in an inferior product as the new status quo. Don't give in. Yeah, this is from Bethesda Games for Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition and the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim on Nintendo Switch in a physical code and box. And yeah, that's the whole physical game key cards and stuff like that. The illusion of having physical games, and that's still, you know, like I said, Nintendo's doing it with even some of their main games, but these other third-party games are especially guilty. The only one that isn't is Cyberpunk, ironically enough. So yeah, unfortunately, you know, this is gonna be an ongoing thing with all the old words of Stone Cold Steve Austin, DTA. Don't trust anybody. Hell yeah. Just be like I said, just kind of be aware. Yeah. So, no, turn it there. A physical code in a box. The illusion of you have some kind of owned game. The illusion that you have a physical copy of a game. That's all everything is going to turn out to being. It's just an illusion of it all. Well, and that, like, it is because like I said, with the whole on that first message we had from the starting of this, then we had a person saying evergreen. No. Because it's like, oh, Steam, looking at everybody shoot themselves over DRM. And I came in with, because I changed the meme. I said, fixed it regarding DRM. GOG is the one place that doesn't have DRM. You do not have to use their GOG Galaxy platform, and you can download the games, keep them, play them offline once installed. Plus, they're doing more to preserve old games than the others. And that's where I did a little meme because I gotta knock this crap off. You can't, like, I like it. I like stuff that they do, but I'm not gonna lie about the bullshit. They are not innocent in any of this, not in the least. Okay.
Thank you for watching this clip from Respawn Roast Cantina. Please like and subscribe if you like what you see, and check out the full episode.